Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. Thank you very much for joining me once again. You are always most welcome. Well, today another fantastic new kit from ICM on top of, well, we've had new kits from them all year long. Every month there's been new releases, and in this respect it astonishes me because we obviously know the difficulties that any company in Ukraine is going through at the moment, but also the fact that ICM in particular, they seem to have been unique this year in that they've had new tooled items coming out pretty much every month. And they've done far better than most of their competitors, including Airfix, Tamiya, Zokimura and others. So hats off to them. But today we've got the brand new tool, 48 scale, Ki-21 IB Sally. And this is the Japanese heavy bomber. Now I did do a review on it just a few weeks ago in 72nd scale, which was not a new tool, but it was new in the sense that it had been, it was like a triple set with two of the Nate fighters. This time it's a brand new tool, so I think what they've done is upscale the kit basically from the 72nd. And they've brought us this rather smashing looking new edition. As I say, it's 2023, lovely artwork with it in front of the Mount Fuji. Now I should just mention before we move into this one, I gave some feedback to ICM about feedback from the viewers, in fact, rather than my feedback. A number of you, and I do agree with you, and this is why I've pushed it forward to ICM. A number of you had said that you felt that given this unique aircraft has got so many windows, that it was actually critical that it came with a mask set, which it doesn't. They don't do mask sets. They do give you a template so you can cut out your own. Anyway, I explained this to ICM and they came back to me having considered it and said, well, a bit like Airfix, that they are very much aiming at a price point that's very competitive in the marketplace, and that they felt that perhaps that most modelers would go out and buy aftermarket masks anyway, and that it would add a lot of cost into their production. Now this is the same argument that Airfix give, and as a general point I can understand it on certain kits, but having thought about it, and now they've released this new 48 scale one, I think their argument about us going out and buying aftermarket anyway, if rather than them do a sort of cheap quality, either a cheap quality version of a mask set or a very expensive one which would boost the price up and therefore put people off the kit. Now I think that's probably true here at 48 scale, but I'm not sure. I mean, I'm being completely honest now, just my opinion. I'm not sure at 72nd scale, which is sort of an entry level scale for a lot of people, newcomers or returnees or youngsters. I think that it's a problem when you've got, I think it has 130 windows, this aircraft. There's 130 masks required. So I think that yes, the more advanced models are going to buy these bigger ones and pay a bit more money and probably are going to get aftermarket, but I don't think maybe the argument's as strong really. I think they should still think about producing something for the 72nd scale one, because that will put a lot of people off the kit. And I've had a comment just this week, somebody saying that very thing, that it would put them off because it's just too fiddly and there's no mask set, and then it's adding costs and da. So I don't know, maybe the choice of subject wasn't the best at 72nd scale. I think it's more fair that the argument ICM have got is more fair at this scale, where most of us probably will get aftermarket items and probably maybe stencils and or a mask set. But at a smaller scale, I think it's a mistake. I think it's a bit off-putting for people in that market at that price, that they find all those windows, and they're going to find it very difficult without an aftermarket set to actually make the model. 130 windows. Ouch. Yeah, it's just unbelievable. Anyway, I don't want to dwell on that because ICM were great. They came back to me fairly quickly after considering what I'd said. I would just say to them again, and this is true to people like Airfix and Revell as well, I think you do need to include mask sets, especially when you've got something that's like this, which a subject which has got something very, very complicated and would give modelers who are less experienced the mother of all challenges in terms of trying to get the framework around the glasswork to get it right. And I think that's a real important thing to consider. So I would ask ICM to think again, and I would say that to the others in the market like Airfix and Revell as well. Have a good think about this, because do you really want to produce a kit that has got so much complexity in its glasswork if you're not going to provide a mask set? Because I think it will put buyers off buying the product, really, especially when they see the review and understand what's involved. Anyway, let's hope I'm not putting anybody off. That's not the intention, quite the opposite. So let's have a look at this new kit that's come from them and have a read of it. So it says on the side, by the way, it's kit number 48195. It says on the side for us, the Ki-21 bomber, also known as the Sully. Sully? It should be Sally, surely. I think we've got a typo. I think they've got a bit confused with a very quick-thinking, cool-headed pilot who gave us the Miracle on the Hudson over in New York a few years back. You know what I mean? Anyway, obviously that's just a mistake. Anyway, it goes on to say, during World War II, this was developed by the Mitsubishi designers in accordance with the requirements set by the General Aviation Directorate. The first prototype of the aircraft took off on December the 18th, 1936, and flight tests of prototypes took place over the next year. Serial production began in the spring of 1938. The bomber was produced by two factories, the Nakajima and Mitsubishi factories, and the aircraft of these two different manufacturers had slight differences in the design of the nose of the fuselage. A modification of the aircraft, designated Ki-21 1B, the second production version of the Ki-21 line, was produced with the experience of air combat in the skies over China and had enhanced small arms to defend it. The aircraft took an active part in combat operations in the Sino-Japanese War in the early stages of World War II. Subsequently, they were transferred to training units, and some of them were converted into transport aircraft as well. Wow, okay. So it says it's got 265 parts in the kit, which doesn't sound too bad. Over on this side we have got some nice different colour call-outs for you. Zoom in a bit more, it might help. There we are. Right. So we've got one in the typical sort of grey scheme that they have. Got flashes on the rear fuselage on this one. This one's got sort of red flashes on the tail and a white band on the fuselage. Then we've got sort of variations on the theme, isn't it, to be honest. And then the last one, which I think I quite like, is this interesting, almost Italian style of camo, which is quite interesting, quite sort of a patchy mottle effect, which does look quite nice. So, without further ado, I think we should take a jolly good look at it, and we'll see what you think, and try not to get upset when you see the number of stencils you're going to need. Right, because we know the number, don't we? It's 130 or thereabouts, unless this has got slightly modified glasswork. Right, here we go. Try and get in if we can. They do pack them beautifully, don't they, ICM? There's no danger of this rattling apart and falling apart in the post or with the courier. Nearly there. There we go. Right, all done. So, let's have a look. See if I can get in. This is where the rubber gloves really help. He says. Last time we decided it was better with the sand. If they're shallow, they're actually not a problem. It's the deeper box ones that it really grips to and it won't release, you know. Okay, so here we go. Oh, yes, so it's a nice big, lots of glasswork. Big bag of sprues and instructions, decals, and yeah, we'll move that to one side. Okay. So, oh, it's got nice historical write-up, giving you a reference for the aircraft, which we like very, very much. Didn't get that on the recent Mini Art Thunderbolt, which I thought was a bit silly. But let's get cracking straight away. We've got our decals trying to drop out. We'll put those over there for a second. Let's see what we've got. So, zoom you in. We have got our sprue map. And yeah, it's a big old bus, this, isn't it? So we've got, this is all new tool, remember, brand new 2023. Yeah, and it looks like there's not really going to be any parts that we're not going to use, based on the way they're showing them. So there aren't that many sprues actually, are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 if you include the clear parts. So that's not too bad. So here we go. All details, all inside details and interior parts, except where noted separately. All details and interior parts, except where noted separately. I think they mean the paint call out. That's a little bit confusing, isn't it? Is it me? Am I missing something here? A little bit odd. Anyway, so you've got your fuselage and you've got a separate tail section which indicates there's probably other versions of this maybe in the pipeline. And you're starting with these darned windows. There's so many of them, aren't there? Oh Lord! If you haven't got any already, you definitely need to invest in some PVA glue, like Micro Crystal Clear, or I use Glue and Glaze from Deluxe Materials, and others are available for clear parts, and they obviously don't leave a mess on the clear part when they dry. There's a door going in there, and then we've got just a lot of windows. A lot of windows, as Cilla Blackman has said. Just tons and tons of windows going in here. And then we have got the building up the sort of cockpit area with your bulkheads. You've got oxygen bottles. We've got sway braces here for the bombs going in, and you're building in your bomb bay. Bombs themselves appearing quite early in the build here. I'm not sure that's ideal, but we shall see. It says the colouring of the bombs are on the colour schemes. That's quite helpful. So build up your bombs, put them in the bomb bay, then you're putting in your pilot and co-pilot seat, navigator seat. You've got your, looks like the pedals going in. Then we've got our control yokes going in, being positioned in front of the seats. And then we've got some pretty hefty looking fuel tanks. Not too far away, it's a bit worrying, I'd say. Close proximity to the crew there, in an internal tank, you know. Then we've got the part of the instrumentation, the control yokes, and it looks like is that the front leg that's going in there? I'm just trying to figure out what that is actually. Is that just part of the internal framework? Then we've got a whole load of ammunition, because it's got these machine gun ports for defence, and you've got like these machine gun magazines that are going to go in here, and then you're actually putting in the machine guns here, going in to where the gunners' positions are. Like the rotary magazines, drums I should say. That's the word I was looking for, drum. And then over here we've got there's like an internal spar going in here, and of course the tail's going to go onto the starboard side of the fuselage. And then you've got some more windows. So I think the windows are not quite the same on either side. Then you've got your instrumentation going in, side instruments, controls for the cockpit going in here and going onto the side wall. You've got your radio here, going to be positioned for the navigator to use, and again going in on the side wall, this time on the port side. And then again on the other side we've got all these machine gun magazine drums going in, and then we've got the main instrumentation for the pilot and navigator going in the front, and then you're going to put one of the final seats, I think it is there, that's going in for the gunner or one of the gunners, and then that's going to be positioned in and bring the two fuselage halves together. Then you've got your bomb bay doors, it would seem here. We've got doors going in, like the control rods, and you've got the option to have them open or closed. We've then got the gun, the actual main machine gun, and the sort of rotary top gun position, top turret you might call it, although it's not a turret in the sense that we have on the more western aircraft like the Lancasters or Flying Fortresses. It's more like an open deck really with a machine gun, isn't it, to be quite honest. It's quite novel to say the least. So that's going to go in there and then be positioned on the top. Then you've got your front gun position. Sorry, I've got Move the plastic in the way over here. Right, your front, putting in your front machine gun with its magazine, and that's going to poke through the front nose glass, of course. Then you've got all this glass work, and it's just like a greenhouse, to be quite honest. That's going in on the top. Then you've got your horizontal stabilisers going on there. Popping those in, plus you've got separate elevators, which is nice, and a separate rudder as well. Positioning those in here, all going into position, and then you're going to build up your wings, complete with your, looks like it's got radiators in the wings, and you're going to position these ailerons, the tips obviously. Then you're going to finally bring in your wings here into the fuselage. Let me start on the undercarriage, the gear, starting at the back with the tail gear. And then we're going to start assembling our main gear here. Which looks fairly simple affair. Then it's going straight in underneath the nacelles. It's going to sort of poke through it in effect. And then we've got a couple of actuator arms that are going in, and then the actual engine nacelles themselves are going to be created here. I don't think you actually get any engines, detailed engines as such. As I say, it does kind of look like an upscale version of the 72nd scale kit, really. But no, I'm wrong. You do get an engine. You get certainly the front end of the engine anyway. Radial engines going in, complete with cowlings. That's great news. It's just that they sit separately, don't they? In like a forward position on the nacelle. And then again on the other side, you're going to do the same thing, and then you put those engines in, plugs them into those nacelles. Just a slightly odd design, isn't it, on this aircraft? Then you're going to put your spinners and your props in. Then you get your radio antenna aerials going in here. And then that's pretty much it. You've completed your Sally. So, this is now, if you're nervous about stencils and decals and masks, you might want to look away now, because this is the masks that you need to create. Now just have a look at this. You can see what I was talking about at the start of the video, can't you? Look at the number of them. There are 130, as you can see. Now that is a huge amount of work you're going to need to do to create your own, to cut those out. And I just think, you know, why would you do that? You definitely go and buy aftermarket, but I do just hope it doesn't put people off the model, because it will do. It will do. And I would understand exactly, you know, those of us that don't want to spend, you know, 2 or 3 weeks masking up the canopy area, the glasswork. It's a huge task, isn't it? I've never seen anything like it. It must be unique. I can't think of any aircraft that's got more glass than that. Anyway, moving on to the colour markings. We've got the 60th Centaur group here, which was in 1940 in China, after they conquered the land there. Then over here we've got the one that's got the red flash across the tail, and this is the also 60th Centaur. This is also in China. And then we've got the Army Flying School, Hamamatsu Army Flying School. This has got these actually reminds me of an airline. I'm trying to think which one it is, that marking. It'll come back to me. And then finally you've got this rather interesting one on the back, which is the Hekodian Shiribu Hikohan Air Brigade, 25th Air Brigade, Japan in 1943. Now I do like this. I'm going to zoom in on this one, because I think that's quite an interesting scheme. It's got this like a stipple effect, and does remind me a little bit almost of the Italian sort of camo schemes. See what I mean? And it's got the plain sort of typical grey underneath. Very, very nice. Nice instructions there, I think. Very, very good. We're off to a good start, I think. Okay. So let's have a look at the decals. Big ones. Now last time I saw some Japanese meatball type Rising Suns, whatever you want to call them, it was on that the Edouard ones that I was doing all those tests on. Not very successful tests. I did try, genuinely. It suited me if they work fine, to be honest, because it means I don't have to go and buy some more. I must get some, must remind myself. Anyway, let's have a look at these, because I think these are going to be quite a bit better. There is just a scuff on mine, actually. I don't think it's a fault in the decal. I think it's just been physically scuffed. This one I'm looking at now, can you see it there? Scuff. Yeah, I don't think we'll hold that against them. I don't think that's typical. But they look, these ICM decals are usually pretty good. They're quite thin, actually. You do have to be a bit careful how you handle them, but they're pretty nice. So here you've got your instrumentation, and then you've just got these various sort of slashes and flashes and tail stripes and things, but there's not much in the way of stencils, minimal, you know. So yeah, very nice, apart from that little scuff. Never mind, don't think it's too serious. So without further ado, let's have a look at this big old bag, see what we've got inside. I think it's going to be nice. I do remember that the 72nd scale kit was a lovely kit. Just this thing about the masking for the clear part. It's a bit of a trial, that is. A challenge and a half. Why don't we start with the clear parts then? See what we've got. Let's have a look. They're absolutely gorgeous, to be quite honest. Look at this. And again, you know, I've said it recently once or twice, but we had this, the Mini Art Thunderbolt, which I wasn't all that impressed with their clear parts. These are beautiful. Look at that. That is stunning. They just seem pretty much flawless to me, those. That's very, very nice. The only flaw and worry here is getting them masked. Ouch! That's going to be tricky. Look at the number of windows it's got. Jeez. And again, this is the forward part of the actual canopy where the pilot and the navigator sit. I said this when I saw the smaller kit. They must be really hot in this aircraft. There's so much glass. It's like a flying greenhouse, really, isn't it? Absolutely remarkable. Here's your nose gunner. It would be that way up with the gun slightly pointing down. And again, lots of framework around it. But again, beautiful clear parts. Just gorgeous. These are kind of flawless. This is some of the nicest clear parts I think ICM have ever done. I'm sure of it. I'm certain. Absolutely beautiful those are. So, you know, some tricky shapes there as well, but there's no, you know, distortion or anything in that. Beautiful. So, you know, again, going back to my comments I made about the Mini Art Thunderbolt canopy. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't great either, to be quite honest. I've actually seen a couple of them now, and some are better than others, actually. I think they're a little bit inconsistent. But the one I had was a bit poor, I thought. No question. So, let's get into this. We'll start with the wings. Oh, these are beautiful. Look at this. This is nice. Very fine detail, not overdone this time. Because we've had one or two kits recently where people have felt, I think the Hurricane from Armour perhaps, and that Mini Art Thunderbolt, where perhaps the details are just a little bit overdone. A little bit heavy perhaps for its scale, but this isn't. This is beautiful. Look at that. Just trying to get the hand here so you can see it. Look at the panel lines. Aren't they lovely? Now that I think is just about right. Just about perfection, really. That's absolutely smashing. And then over here we've got the, I think it's the Bombay door that we've got there. That's cool. And then we've got the internal, yeah, it's part of the internal fuselage. Obviously there's a bulkhead there. But that's just so nicely done. The figuring and the feel. Feels quite smooth, actually. It's so fine, actually. You might want to be careful not to go too heavy with things like primers, because I think it might just fill in some of the detail if you're not careful, but that is very, very beautiful. So I'm going to take that and pop it back in its bag. It's a little bit wobbly on its screw. Okay. Second one, it's got all the tail, the back end of the aircraft. So here we've got the tail pieces. We've got ailerons, And again, I keep saying ICM are getting better and better. They really are though. Look at this. It's getting real close. You can see what I'm talking about. Try and hold it as still as possible. Look at the detail here. There's a beautiful sort of satin finish to the plastic. Very nice feel to it. You've got these, that's your rudder in fact. Left and right side of the rudder there. But isn't it lovely? And again, it's got this, you can tell it's going to take the sort of primer and paint really well because it's got just the right sort of finish. Here you've got your horizontal stabilisers. There you've got your elevators at the back. Really nicely contoured, aren't they? Beautiful finish. That's a really nice... the only thing that does worry me, it's got this plug-in tail. Sometimes that can give you a bit of join trouble. Let's hope it fits okay though, because ICM's fit is usually pretty good, to be fair. That's a nice sprue, that is. So far so good, it's looking very good. I think when you open the clear parts and they're that good that you've just seen there, it bodes very well for the rest of the kit, I've got to say. Now, again, now we've got some of the engine parts with the propellers and the conrods here, the radio engine. You've got propeller, beautifully formed that, and they've got the sprue attachment points in a sensible spot. Look at the precision of the mould though, there's no flash on this at all. Another one of these new tool ICMs which seem to be very flash free. All the 2023 stuff I've seen has been really crisp and Tamiya-like in its cleanliness on the actual sprue. Here you've got all your cylinders. And then over here we've got the undercarriage arms. Sway braces over here for the bombs. Got your yoke control. It's very fine. These are all the drum magazines for the machine guns. Lots of those. There's two of that sprue, so we won't look at the other one because that's now named. So if you just bear with me a second while I zoom back out. So we've got two of those. Okay, pop that in there. Very impressed so far. A really cracking kit. And I have to say that the sprues are much cleaner than Mini Art or Manatee. Not knocking Mini Art, I like them. I'm a bit disappointed with the Thunderbolt. I really wanted it to be perfect. I predicted it was going to be one of the kits of the year. When I opened it, I wasn't quite so as impressed as I thought I was going to be. And this is the opposite. This is really nice. Look at this. Got all the machine guns beautifully done. Look at the detail here. This is like Tamiya or better. You've got super fine little machine guns there. Then you've got your seat. This is one of your gunner's seats. And this is the top gunner's machine gun arrangement for the turret, so to speak. And then we've got obviously the outers for the engines, or the mounting points for the engine, I should say. And then we've got our seats over here, which look really nice. There's no detail for things like seat belts though. One bit of detail we could have perhaps done with. And then we've got our oxygen bottles. And again, they're really sharp, aren't they? And you've got all these little pieces and parts here, including things like the antenna hoop there for the radio aerial. Again, look at the sharpness of these parts. That's so crisp. It's perfect. Such tiny pieces. Flash free. Just stunning, really. That is stunning. Stunning sprue. And then last two, a couple of big sprues. I'm going to zoom you back. And here we've got the fuselage. It's a big old thing, this is. So we've got the engine nacelles, we've got the fuselage. Very sharp panel lines, they're very consistent. They go round the actual fuselage in a totally consistent manner. If you look closely. Look at that. So, yeah. Here's your fuel tanks, internal fuel tanks. Engine nacelles. Look at the detail on the... Oh, there's actually a tiny bit of flash there. That's the first time I've seen it. It's just an odd bit of flash that must have just caught. You see it? There. It's just that one spot. It's the only piece I've seen in the whole kit so far that's worth mentioning anyway. That's impressive. Look at the shaping is nice, isn't it? It's got this lovely silky finish to all the plastic. That's very, very nice. And then that just leaves us with the other parts of the wings and the sort of wing spars. Got to say, I'm mighty impressed. I like the finish. It's got a good feel to it. It's got like a almost Tamiya-esque feel to it, the plastic. It's not, this particular aircraft is not my favourite subject, but it's just a joy, isn't there, when you get to these kits. It doesn't really matter whether it's your thing. When you get something that's so well executed as this, it's just a joy to have in your hands, really. Now here we go, this is the last one, so this is now the top wing. I think it was the bottom wing we had before. And again, just check out the finish here. Look at those little access hatches here, top of the engine nacelle. I've got some lovely fluting here. This is part of the bomb bay. Internals on the bomb bay. Look at that. Sorry, it's the aileron. What am I talking about? I've just realised it's the aileron. Beg your pardon. Right aileron, that is. And you've got left aileron over here. Again, super sharp. Beautiful silky finish. A bit of flash that was just sitting on top through static electricity there. Just, you know, this is almost, I was saying Tamiya, but it's not as perhaps as softly moulded as Tamiya. It's kind of Zukimura sort of finish to it, I think, actually. Perhaps that's the best accolade I can give it, really. Well, somebody accused me recently of saying, oh yeah, when you're getting these kits from ICM, you're going to say nice things about them. Well, if you watch very closely and listen very closely, there's one or two where I have found flash. There's one kit I found a bit of flash on there. I think part of the sprues were from an older tooling, and some of the tooling was new. I will not hold back and say if I think it has a fault. Doesn't matter whose it is, and whether I paid for it or I didn't pay for it. It's completely academic. All I will tell you is what I see in front of me. I think is the only way to go when you're doing model reviews. Otherwise, you're just fishing for free things, and I'm not trying to do that at all. Don't get this into the... We've got a problem, actually. Hang on a minute. Oh boy. Put those together. I think that's the way. I'll get there in the end. Here we go. Oh, I've interlocked and welded and welded it. There we go. So, sorry about all the crinkling. I know on the camera it can sound really loud, so sorry about that. We have these very crinkly bags I see as well. Right then. Well, that's it. We're done with this review. I've got to say, I'm not a big fan of the aircraft. My only reservation on this kit is what I said at the beginning before I even opened it, really, and I hadn't seen it. Which is just the fact that, you know, we've got this huge glass house area, and it needs to have a paint mask to do the framing, and that is, it's a shame we couldn't include a mask, or yeah, other manufacturers don't include masks as well, so I can't be too harsh. I think maybe that and the instructions could be a little bit more detailed, perhaps. Just knock half a point off, I think, only. 9.5 out of 10 is where I'm at. But there are elements to that kit. This is a bit off-putting if you don't like the idea of having a lot of glassware. Well, don't buy the model then, you know. But if that doesn't bother you at all, that is an absolute superb product. That's one of the nicest kits of the year, actually. I'm not saying it's the nicest, but it's up there with the Tahi Sky Crane helicopter. And I know I was very impressed by that giant tiger that I bought as well. In my mind, we're getting toward the end of the year, and I'm starting to form my top 10, top 5 kits. That could well be in the top 5 because it's that good. It's just the clear parts are flawless, absolutely gorgeous. Tamiya-esque clear parts, beautiful moulding there, and I think it deserves 9.5 out of 10 for sure. So very pleasantly surprised by just how good it is. Yeah, and I've said before, ICM, whether they give me kits or they don't give me kits, they're just getting better and better. You can see it, you know. I said in one of my other reviews, don't listen to what I say, just turn the sound off and just look at my images. The camera doesn't lie, you know, you can see how good that is. That's just stunning, really. A beautiful kit. 9.5 out of 10. Could easily have been a bit more if it had a mask for the 130 windows. Ouch! Anyway, hope you enjoyed the review. Thank you very much for watching. We'll have more from ICM coming very soon. There's several more on the way as we speak. And from other manufacturers, we've got 1 or 2. So, you know, I mentioned kit of the year. Perhaps we can have another kit of the year, top 10 this Christmas / New Year. It's going to be very interesting because, again, it's not going the way I expected. I actually thought that the Mini Art, I'm not knocking this Mini Art, I like this Mini Art Thunderbolt, but I thought it was going to be something absolutely exceptional. It didn't quite set a new standard in the way I thought it would. It's still in the top 10, I have to say, but not quite the position I thought it would be. And we've got some other stunning kits to come. We've got the Buccaneer from Airfix. We've, in 48 scale, the S2B, the Bomber. We've, of course, got the Zokimura Focke-Wulf 190. And we've got the, dare I even mention it, you know, the Tamiya F-35B Lightning 2, the vertical takeoff version that is used by the US Marines and of course the Royal Air Force and Royal Navy, so amongst many others. And that is going to be absolutely knockout. I think we know that's going to be up there. That's probably almost certain to get into the top 3. And I haven't even seen it yet. Just on its pedigree from. There are some. I think there's 1 or 2 frames of sprues that are new. The rest of it will be the incredible kit we've already seen. So I'm not prejudging it, but I think it's almost guaranteed to be in the top 5. Very likely to be in the top 3, if not possible winner. I hope not, actually, because I don't like the idea of something that's almost the same as last year winning again. That's like some of these car magazines that always vote for Porsche, isn't it? And they vote it best car year after year. And you think it's a fix, you know. There's nothing here is a fix. I'll just judge it on what I see. But anyway, going back to the point about this kit, that is way exceeded my expectations, and is probably could be the nicest kit from ICM so far. Actually, beautiful, beautiful kit. I hope they do some other subjects that are perhaps more my cup of tea. You know, perhaps some more German or American subjects. Perhaps I don't know. Perhaps I'd like to see them do a B-17. Actually, I think that would be really cool. But they're going in the right direction. They're really developing and growing and evolving beautifully. ICM's kits, absolutely amazing work. Well done, ICM. Well done. You deserve my compliments there for sure. Anyway, I hope you'll give me 10 out of 10 with a thumbs up, and don't forget to tune in again very soon because there'll be plenty more coming along to entertain you and interest you, I hope. In the meantime, till next time, thanks very much for watching. Stay safe, stay well, look after yourselves. Thanks a lot, and bye for now.